Hello, this is Jacob with Small Business Chat. Joins me today, Matt again. How are you doing today, Matt? I heard you're a little sick.
Yeah, I'm a little bit under the weather. Got a little COVID going on, but it's this new strand is not too bad. So we'll see how it goes.
There's always a new strand out. What's this one's called now?
COVID 2 electric, sorry, they're calling it too. Now, I don't know what are we on 15 or 16. Who knows, but I don't pay attention to what they're calling it anymore. Forgive me. I just know it's not, at least for me, it wasn't that bad. Although I couldn't feel my hands for about 4 hours. That was weird.
Oh, maybe you just
Yeah.
stepped on them by accident.
Yeah, no, sorry. That excuses me for all my behavior during that time. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that where my hands were? Oh, my bad. Couldn't feel them.
Well, today we got a very important topic to talk about. We got a couple of controversies between Alabama and this one golf association, the LIV Golf Four Aces. And then also, most importantly, we have a little bit of recent news, big news, which is the Trump shooting. We got some trademarks that came from it, which is called You Missed. Is I checked the USPTO database. There's a couple of filings, so we got a little bit of that to talk about. And finally, we'll finish it off with Jelly Roll and his trademark issue with looks like some sort of pastry. um,
And
so
you can tell me who
talk about.
Jelly Roll is too. That's the most important. I'm excitingly looking forward to who the heck Jelly Roll is. But that's from a 53-year-old man.
Don't say that around Ian because he'll punch you because he loves
Okay.
Jelly Roll.
Exactly.
Jelly Roll is a country singer.
Oh, okay.
He looks like the country larger version of Post Malone, in my opinion.
Okay, follow-up question. Who's Post Malone? Actually, I think I've heard of Jelly Roll now that you
Oh no,
mentioned
you
it.
don't know who Post Malone is? Oh no.
No, I
Um,
know I got Alan Jackson. I'm a big fan of Alan Jackson and obviously previously Jimmy Buffett, even though he wasn't technically country, but and I've got like all your major country people, Carrie Underwood, yada yada yada, but Postman, what we post something?
Post Malone.
Post Malone.
Yeah, he's a big, like, probably one of the most famous rappers of our age. Not even really mine
Oh,
either.
he's a rapper.
I didn't grow up with him. Yeah. He's like a newer age rapper, and he just turned country as well. So he's right there with the Jelly Roll. Um,
Oh,
so so let's go ahead. Matt, I'll let you pick the first what we should talk about first. Do you want to hit the Alabama thing first, or talk about the most exciting thing, which is the You Miss trademark?
yeah, I guess we should just go ahead and jump in on the you missed, right? I
All right,
mean,
let's rip the Band-Aid off.
yeah,
So Matt, You Missed has been trademarked. At least I've seen most of it has been trademarked in merchandise. So
yeah,
who's ever filing this is hopes to get their trademark You Missed on some T-shirts.
yeah.
Which the from our last podcast, Hawk Tua should have jumped right on that as soon as she could. I don't think she got on it quick enough since there's like 15 plus Hawk Tua trademarks out there now. But
Yeah. Pardon
um,
the pun, but yeah, because she's evidently gotten out on a lot before. But yeah, go ahead.
Yep, exactly. So Matt, what do you think? I mean, obviously, Donald Trump's not filing for this, so do you think it's a pretty good trademark to have these days?
And if I may, let me take a step back. First and foremost, from our small biz chat here, our hearts go out to the family who lost a loved one and to the people that were injured that day, including former President Trump. But most importantly, the man who lost his life shielding his wife and his, children. And no words can ever make him come back. And the fact that anyone is attempting to profiteer on this on either side is grotesque, in my opinion. And the basis for a
Really agree.
trademark
Yeah.
and yeah, the basis for a trademark is that I can have exclusive rights to use something to sell it. And you're in essence in if I could, talk to the people who you missed, haha, it's funny. Whatever.
They
Someone
didn't
died.
they didn't miss. They hit somebody, so
Yeah, they
they weren't
someone
important
died,
enough to,
in this. And and I can't tell by the way it's you missed. I can't tell if that's a Democrat, like saying, "Oh, darn it, you missed," or if it's a MAGA type person saying, "You missed, ha ha ha, we're still here." Well, like you just said, they didn't miss. They took someone's life, and and it's a tragedy. And I just don't think that, no, if it's something inspirational, like if you wanted to do something like, never forget, the name of the town in Pennsylvania, or something like that, and then you do it for charity, hey, I'm down with that. If it's a you missed and you're just going to profiteer off it for your own benefit, the heck with you. And I'm going to give a rare shout out to the Patent and Trademark Office. I don't know under, the old Section 2A statute or whatever they can do, but I'm optimistic that the Patent and Trademark Office will decline this thing. First of all, the Patent and Trademark Office isn't going to get around to it for a year.
Yeah, seriously.
But
The old news by
but
then.
yeah, but at that juncture, they should decline it on, forgive me. They always come up with some good way to do it. It's just, morality grounds, whatever. And the Patent and Trademark Office has a lot of money for their Solicitor General and all that sort of stuff, and take it to the Supreme Court, whatever. Fight this one because, we should not allow people to trademark things that are profiteering off of, national tragedies. And that's what, when we take Ken or a Democrat, I've told your generation for so long, hey, well, we're not living in the craziest generation. In the 60s, they killed, JFK, RFK, Martin Luther King Jr., and they were assassinating our leaders. And that was crazy. Well, now they're starting to take shots at our leaders. And whether or not you agree with President Trump or disagree with him, President Biden, or disagree with him, you don't have a right to take a shot at him. And you talk about destruction of democracy. When we start killing people that we disagree with, that is the ultimate destruction of democracy, and no one should be allowed to profiteer about that on that. And I'm optimistic that the Patent and Trademark Office will do everything in their power, even if the Biden administration is still in charge or if the Trump administration is in charge, to basically make sure that things like this don't go through, because it's disgusting. And I hope that people realize it and they, withdraw the application because it's crap.
Yeah, I looked at it. Looks like it's obviously a 1B. They aren't currently using it yet, so they probably don't even have clothing. As soon as that probably happened, they just jumped right on an application. So hopefully they'll get an office action, or hopefully they don't come to us.
Yeah. And just so everyone knows, and so, we work for a place called the Trademark Company. And, we have that standing rule. I think we mentioned this in the last couple podcasts, like, we just won't do business with people that, people have in the past, they say things that, are, sorry, I mentioned this 2A statute. It used to be that you couldn't trademark something that was immoral or scandalous. And then the Supreme Court sort of gutted that statute a while back because they determined that it was unconstitutionally vague as to who was deciding what was scandalous or immoral. But but in our company, we've always had this sort of standing rule, which is we're just not going to assist people that come in for blatantly racist phrases. Like, we'll help you out if you drop an F-bomb in your trademark or something like that. But if you're going to come in and say something racist against a class of people in this country, I mean, we're a melting pot. We're all here together, deal with it. We're stronger together. And likewise, if you're going to come in and try to do something, that profiteers off of a tragedy, find somebody else. And optimistically, again, the Patent and Trademark Office will side with us on that and just, go forward and just say, matter of fact, I would love if the Patent and Trademark Office can just pull this thing. They know it's been filed, and do an express examination on it and make a statement. I just thought about this. Just put it to the front of the line, examine it tomorrow, and reject it, and just send it back saying, we will not deal with you. You're a bad person.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've definitely seen a lot of trademarks like this. That and I haven't seen any that literally there's just one, and it's just literally t-shirts is what they're making. So hopefully they get canceled. Matt, a little bit
So
more
speaking
about.
of bad people, sorry if I can do it. Can I do the segue on this one?
Of course.
So speaking of bad people, University of Alabama. Sorry, we only dislike them because they beat all of our teams. Well, not lately.
Yeah, seriously, I think a lot of people who love college despise Alabama unless you're an Alabama fan. So
yeah, and by the way, it was just a joke on my part, because after actually watching Nick Saban for the last couple of years, that is a great man, a great football coach, greatest football coach of all time, in my opinion. And just props out and good luck to the new coach at University of Alabama for continuing that winning tradition. It is a very difficult thing to do, to step into that shadow. But from his recruiting classes, I think they'll continue to be a strong program. I think they'll take a step back, but I think they'll be right there for the next 10 years because he's a fantastic coach. But anyways, on to the trademark issues. What do you got for us?
yeah. So with Alabama, speaking about Alabama, they are joining the filing opposition to LIV Golf League trademark that they filed. I don't know exactly when it's been filed, but Alabama is contesting that the Alabama A, with what they're filing, is too similar. The way it's styled. Matt, you've seen it. You just saw it this morning. What do you think? What's your opinion?
Pure crap.
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 Do you think it's not similar?
No, not at all. I mean, what I think for University of Alabama to win this lawsuit, they basically would have to, and this is my opinion, obviously, but I mean, so we all know one of the more difficult things is, to prove infringement when your trademark is just a letter. Because it's, we can't just give one person, one organization the right to use a single letter, because I mean, that would open up Pandora's box in the trademark world. And so when you're looking at a letter versus another letter, now, if you've got a stylized trademark, that's what we talk about when University of Alabama, they've got a beautifully unique A. I don't want to take anything away from University of Alabama's A, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper than you realize in this, because I was at the forefront of this many, many years ago when all of these schools started enforcing their trademarks and they went completely overboard with it. I don't think this one's completely overboard, but I just don't think that they're similar enough, in my opinion, to warrant Alabama's concern, because you really have to look at how they're stylized. And yes, they're both slanted almost in an italicized manner to the right. One is used with a professional golf tour. One is used with a host of other things, intercollegiate sports, obviously apparel, et cetera, et cetera. But there's no stem. Alabama has a stem off the top of the A. LIV Golf does not. LIV Golf has, they both have sort of a little swirly at the bottom on the bottom left, but LIV Golf comes all the way around and looks like it's got like a star at the end of that. And not to mention, it's sort of, I mean, I'll be candid with you, LIV Golf to me almost looks more like a 4 with a dolphin swimming up to it. Do you see that now?
Yeah, I actually, you know what? I see that now. Yeah, a little the
And look, and
bottom
it's like, and
part is
like
the
the 4, it
dolphin.
looks like dolphin tails. Look at the dolphin tail, even the cross over the A, it looks like a dolphin tail or something. And so what it happens is when you get into a case like this, can they technically call experts? Both of them can call experts on, phonetic similarities. Phonetic, I guess the wrong word, visual similarities. The experts, but I just don't think they're that similar. But I wonder if this largely stems more from, you know, I want to say it was about a decade ago that universities weren't enforcing their trademarks. And then universities, but they were losing a lot of revenue over it. I'm sorry. Do you mind if I just continue on?
No, go for it. Yeah, go for
It's part of the COVID. I'm a little bit thick-headed, so I just keep yakking on.
it.
And so there was an organization that went out. It was a private attorney. I can't remember his name. And he effectively got all of the schools to basically, I think, allow him to represent all of them and start going after all of these, effectively infringement of people's trademarks, of these universities' trademarks. Now, the interesting little side note on all this um, where'd you go to high school?
I went to Holly Springs High School.
What's the mascot?
It's a Golden Hawk.
Does it look like any college mascot by any chance?
Any college mascot?
Right.
Probably.
Yeah. And oh God, what's the name of that sports program? And it's a great high school program in Las Vegas. It starts with Gorman, Bishop Gorman. Um, Bishop Gorman's G looks just like the University's of Georgia's G, but it's blue or something like that. It's a different color, but it's literally the exact same font. And one of my rival high schools when I grew up was the Palm Beach Gardens Gators. Produced a lot of great athletes, et cetera, et cetera. But surprise, surprise, guess what their mascot was? They literally had like, the symbol of the University of Florida, and they actually were an orange and blue school. I mean, it literally, when they took the field, they looked like a miniature version of the Florida Gators. On their basketball court was the Florida Gator, symbol, only it was, Palm Beach Garden Gators. Well, University of Florida et al. Sent them cease and desist letters, if I recall correctly. And they started like, tearing up these affiliations with all these schools or get under a paid license. And so for years, like, Palm Beach Gardens, high school or whatnot, I mean, you were a Gator. So if you were really good, maybe you wanted to go to the University of Florida or something, and then they start tearing up these things. So I always thought they just went a little bit overboard. Like I always thought they should have just give them a $1 license a year. Hey, just license it out. Because the larger concern was if you have all this infringement, and it is a valid concern, if you don't enforce your trademark and you have all these high schools infringing on it or otherwise, then they can argue dilution or you're not enforcing your trademark. And then accordingly, then I can infringement. So I could go out and sell at University of Florida games, Gators merchandise and not have a license from you. And even though you have the trademark. So I sort of wonder if this LIV Golf thing is sort of coming from that old adage of, well, we got to sue somebody for something every once in a while, just because we have to make sure that people understand we're enforcing our trademarks. In my opinion, I don't see it. I just don't see it. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't, I
Long,
don't,
long,
I,
long thing, right?
I don't see it either, especially since they're in two different, completely different categories. It's like they're trying to basically take away that style of A from everybody. And I mean, obviously they're known for it. They're probably the most popular college team of all time. But personally, I just don't see it either.
Yeah.
And what also is funny, I'm looking at the USPTO's database right now, and all of the A's that they have filed, it's the board of trustees of the University of Alabama that has them all filed. They're all in the notice of allowance period. They're not even registered, and they're filing oppositions.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and they can because they've been using it for a long time. I just, I think,
It boggles my mind that they're not even registered yet, since
yeah,
they've
it's a
had
good
that
point.
A
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah, and I just think this one, I mean, like, again, I respect University of Alabama, and their attorneys are doing what they feel is in the best interest of the school. I personally just think this one's a little bit of a reach. And if I were on a jury, like these things typically don't go to a jury, but if I were on a jury, just sitting here looking at them side by side, I would not find them similar enough to actually, say, oh yeah, this should be blocked because of that. I just don't think it's there. And by the way, just on just a complete other side, because I used to do litigation all the time. Like I know University of Alabama's got a lot of money and their sports program's got a lot of money. Live Golf has a lot more money. You don't want to pick a fight if you don't have to pick a fight with somebody who basically has a gajillion dollars because they can just bury you into the ground. And it's one of those things where if I would have looked at this, I understand that I'm sure that University of Alabama's lawyers are fantastic. But I just would have really thought, I would have probably issued an opinion that this is not similar enough to worry about. Now, on the flip side, for all I know, maybe they're putting this like in a turn. They're oh, what's that? They have that golf course. Anyways, there are a lot of golf courses in Alabama, fantastic golf courses. Maybe they're coming right down and planting their flag in Alabama, like the backyard of University of Alabama, and selling all this merchandise. The other thing would be is we're just relying on this off of one article on what is this? 1819.com. For all we know, maybe they're, now would my opinion change if I saw that suddenly this A was in crimson? Then my next question would be does Alabama have the color crimson trademarked in connection with the letter? In other words, do they have a crimson A? Because I'm just looking at a black and white A or a white A. Maybe that's part of Alabama's thoughts. Is just like, wait a minute, but you can, if it's a black and white A, you could come back and actually do this in crimson because that's legally what they could do. And that's what we're trying to stop. So maybe what they're trying to do is just get an agreement that, hey, LIV Golf, you can continue to do it in this chalk color. You can do it in any other color. We just don't want you to do it in crimson. Because I've been a part of those cases too. And it just came down to, hey, you can have any other color on the Pantone scheme. Just don't do it in our signature crimson now that you're an A. And maybe it's only making news because they're LIV Golf and they're not, Bob Smith filing for a trademark for his, A hardware. And they just come in, they say, hey, Bob, it's cool. Just don't use it in crimson. And Bob goes, okay, no problem. But now that since they filed something against LIV Golf, it makes news because anything with LIV Golf these days makes news.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Also, with that, the let's see. I was going to say something. So with the notice of allowance that the Alabama has, I mean, a lot of people are saying that everyone has, which is true, that everyone has the rights to enforce their brand however which they like. They're probably not going to win it. especially since Alabama's still not even registered. Now, also the LIV Golf uh, got the notice of allowance as well, so the USPG already sided in their favor too. So, in your opinion, Matt, how do you think it's going to go down? What do you think is the end result?
I don't think Alabama will win. I think it'll settle out of court relatively quickly. That's how 99% of all trademark cases, result.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they'll probably end up settling with something like, well, just don't, you can't just display it in, um, crimson. And the challenge with this is I'm not looking at it. You probably have two fantastic high price law firms there on either side, and they have to justify, what they're doing for their respective clients. And so both of them have to sort of be able to go back and say, see, we won this, with the exception of if LIV Golf's attorneys have been given the directive of pound them into the sand. And like I said, I mean, LIV Golf is throwing out what, 75 million here, a couple hundred million here for these golfers. Yeah, a couple $100 million for lawyers gets you some really great lawyering. Because I've tried cases against those big, New York law firms, and I'll tell you, they're fantastic. And so, yeah, I got multiple times I've gone into trial against them thinking, why even try this thing? I'm just going to smoke these guys. And then when they, when the verdict came down, it's just like, oh, yeah, they're fantastic. So anyways, but so it's these big law firms are usually have fantastic lawyers at them. Whether or not they're worth what you pay for them, that's depends on how much money you have. But you do get quality representation from them, and when you get two big law firms fighting, it's usually a pretty interesting fight. But usually they can resolve these if both law firms can represent to their client that it's a win-win situation, and such. So we'll see if that happens, and again, now, of course, if Georgia was doing it today, Georgia would absolutely win because they're now the new winners, not Alabama. Alabama's now the bridesmaid. Sorry, had to
Old
come back to
news.
football because we're coming up on football season.
And as everyone might know, Matt is a huge Miami, Florida fan.
Florida. I used to be a Miami fan, but
Oh, just Florida now. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
it would be in order. I'm still a Miami fan, but my Gators are my ride or die. And then because it's where I would have gone if. And then Miami, I loved during the '80s because I had so many friends in the '90s that went and played for the Canes and got some natties. And then Florida State, since my mom went there, I've gotta always be with the Seminoles as well, even though they're annoying.
Gotcha. For me, mine's less complicated. My just love Ohio State. I grew up there. Didn't like the Browns enough to like them, but I liked Ohio State enough to like them. I remember Devon Miller. Do you remember Devon Miller? Or not Devon Miller, sorry, Braxton Miller. Do you remember him when he was
Yep.
playing? Oh my God, he was like the best quarterback. Was in college at one point. That's when I got into college football, was when he was playing. So pretty much
You
like
guys
my
are going to be, and of course, my son goes to OSU, and so you guys are going to be. Ohio State's going to be so darn good, and then and again, just a blatant thing. My old coach Chip Kelly, who's now the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Um, you guys are going to just roll through everyone this year. You guys aren't actually. That's not true. You guys have a couple real. So you may lose a game in September to. You guys have to go on the road to Oregon, and Oregon is still loaded. And you guys are just installing Chip Kelly's offense still. I could see you guys dropping a close one to Oregon, but then coming back and just rolling through everyone by the end of the year. Because again, remember, 12-team playoff this year. So Ohio State's already, I think, in the playoff just by virtue of the fact that they're Ohio State. There's like four or five teams that are already in the playoff, and we haven't started the season. Georgia, Ohio State. Trying to think what else. That may be the only two that are automatically in that are really supposed to be really good this year. Maybe Oregon, but who knows? We'll see.
Well, Matt, are you ready to tackle the next trademark topic?
Fire away.
Mr. Jelly Roll. I'll go ahead and speed you up again. Jelly
I
Roll.
heard he's a country singer.
He's a country singer. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard he's fantastic.
He's
Yeah.
he's
Someone told me he was good.
Yeah, he's pretty much the one of the number one country singers right now. And most recently, we're kind of like hitting on the end of the news here of what occurred, but is at least noteworthy. Jelly Roll, obviously he's known for his name, Jelly Roll, and apparently this wedding band, like literally wedding band, company called Jelly Roll, sued, and then also, yeah, they literally submitted a trademark lawsuit against Jelly Roll, due to his name being similar to them, and looks like they filed everything first, et cetera, et cetera. But it looks like they withdrew it due to actually I don't think they went into really much detail. They just withdrew it all of a sudden. So they're no longer pursuing Jelly Roll for his name. I guess Jelly Roll.
Well, I mean, so justice has been served. So what was going to be their, but hypothetically, what was going to be their argument? Because Jelly Roll, he's an entertainer that's probably more famous than their brand was in any event. And hey Siri, text Jacob Porter.
Oh, I'm here. I'm here. Matt,
You're
hello.
back?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm back. I think we're back. Sorry,
Lost
I think we had
connection
an
there for
internet
you.
issue, but that's all good. So you can hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you. Yep.
Sorry for that wasn't a bad enough drop. That's got to be my internet. But anyways, um, yeah, but I mean, so what was their case going to be? That so maybe they got a settlement out of it that he won't produce a line of jewelry or wedding bands or something like that. And I'm sure Jelly Roll was like, and sure, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
You know,
literally they sent him a cease and desist letter and he ignored it.
yeah, I mean, and that's by the way, when we can talk about cease and desist letters now, that's a great segue right now. Come back into our business type thing. If you get a cease and desist letter, what do you do? What do you think? What should be your first step?
When you were the one receiving a cease and desist letter?
Yeah.
Um, seek legal action.
Yeah, counsel, right?
Counsel,
Like,
yes.
yeah, and so because a couple things. So if you respond to somebody, because so often people get a cease and desist letter, and their first response is, "I haven't done anything wrong. This is all wrong. This is crap. I can handle this just by calling the other side," especially if it's already from a law firm. Rarely do people issue cease and desist letters by themselves, right? But if it's from a law firm, first of all, just remember anything you do and say to somebody else is called an admission. Now, you may not realize it, but you may admit things when you pick up the phone and the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham and Howe sends you a cease and desist letter. Hey, you're using your trademark. Okay, LIV Golf gets a cease and desist letter from the University of Alabama. Stop using that A that we such. And LIV Golf, they didn't pick up the phone. Their CEO didn't pick up the phone and be like, "What are you talking about? Of course we have an A, and of course it looks a little bit like your A, but I don't think it looks too much like your A." Well, in front of the jury, the quote, "Of course it looks a little bit like your A," is what that lawyer put in. Why? Because you just made an admission. That's why you always seek counsel when you get a cease and desist letter. It can be very serious. And there are good local lawyers that you can find if you ever get one, and they will not charge you an arm and a leg. And again, the lawyers that represent LIV Golf in Alabama, again, they're going to charge them a tremendous amount of money, and I'm sure they're fantastic lawyers. But you can get fantastic lawyers in your state or otherwise, or if you need help with something like that, we at the trademark company can help you out as well. But the first thing you do when you get a cease and desist letter is take a breath, don't do anything, because usually they're going to tell you, "Oh, we're going to give you 10 days to respond or 20 days to respond." You can ignore it. Ignoring it can basically lead to them, well, okay, going away. That happens sometimes. But also it can lead to them filing a lawsuit against you, which is really bad because then you have to get a lawyer to defend you. Or you can just go and find a local good lawyer, whatever state you're in. The state bar associations of almost every single state, no matter where you are, can assist you in locating quality counsel. And usually they can probably for like, $500 to $1,000, which is a lot of money. They can get you, representation, and they can tell you what, you know, what's what, and then advise you and, how you should respond. Sometimes you can ignore it. Sometimes it's not a good idea to ignore it, but don't just on a knee jerk shoot back anything to the person, because that's never a good call, because what you say can be admitted against you and you may not realize the admissions you're making.
And we also offer cease and desist letter services, don't we, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have that new, yeah, we thank you for a blatant plug here, folks. But yeah, we have a technology solution, a little AI solution that we like to, use. We've rolled it out in the last 6 months, and it's working fantastic. And it can both, send out cease and desist letters on behalf of people, even though we don't have a representative capacity, obviously. But it then also has a settlement portal that's really cool, and it's just a really great way of actually resolving difficulties, and and such. But even if you get a cease and desist letter, same thing. A great way to respond is to use this portal. Fantastic way of doing it. And if it doesn't work, if they say, well, we're going to go sue you anyways, well, you still had to get a lawyer one way or the other. So no harm, no foul, and doesn't cost a lot of money. But yeah, thanks for the plug.
No problem, no problem. Well, I think we've covered all topics.
Wait, we got one more. We got one more. We got one more.
What's that?
Because I got to give props out to your Steelers. I know you love your Steelers.
Yeah, I do. Go for it.
But I'm going to throw you the question now.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson, can he? Lamar Jackson, for those of you who do not know, is the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, who signed, was it the NFL's largest contract ever?
I think so. Yeah.
Signed like not represented by an agent, signed the largest contract, I think, in the history of the NFL. And on one hand, props out to him for getting his, because I think, you're working for a bunch of billionaires, and, it's cool where the athletes are able to negotiate, and, he got his money, and props out to Lamar. But you're a Steelers fan. Well, first of all, Jacob, trademark. Can he trademark number 8? What do you think? That's his number.
Number.
Come on, this is a softball. Come on, this is a softball. You work here. Come on.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, God. Oh my gosh, you said you flip a coin?
I was screwing with you.
Flip a coin. I heard you flipping a coin. I heard it whizzing by the microphone. Yes, of course you can.
I was just keeping you on the edge of your seat, Matt.
Yeah, exactly. No, of course you can, right? Because it's just, you can trademark anything for your good and service. You just have to, but when basically people, you have to know that, you have to use it as an actual trademark. So depending on who he, if he trademarked it on behalf of an individual, Lamar Jackson, which, by the way, we would recommend you get an LLC for that, Lamar, if you're out there listening. Doubt you are, but still, he's getting ready for camp. But you can trademark it, of course, if he uses it. Now, he can't. There's an odd refusal. It took me the longest time to understand it. He can't get a trademark for 8 for like all jerseys that have the number 8 on them. So it's like if you're walking around with a big 8 on it, and it's a red 8, and whatnot, he's not going to be able to sue you for trademark infringement. So he can't go after every other sports franchise for having a number 8 and then selling their guy's jersey on it. But remember, a trademark tells you where the goods or services are coming from. And so, provided that when he sells his goods or services, the people understand that it's coming from 8, the actual company 8 or whatnot, he could actually trademark it. If he just puts the number 8 on a jersey and tries to sell it, he can't. Now, he sells a name, image, likeness for his own name, image, likeness, and he can trademark that. He can trademark Lamar Jackson. He can trademark Jackson in reference to the 8 jersey look and such. But can he trademark just the number 8? Absolutely. But can he stop other people from using the number 8 on jerseys themselves? Not a chance. Not a chance. And such. Which, by the way, and here's
would that be a disclaimer? Throw. Would you have to submit a disclaimer for that, Matt?
I just think that you just don't have rights and what. And I think I don't know what his thought process is in trying to trademark this, but I get the feeling that like I think, first of all, I got to give him props. He's obviously smart because he represented himself into the NFL's largest deal in history. So props out to that guy, right? So maybe he's smarter than me in reference to trademarks as well. But yeah, I think what he's angling for is, if I get a trademark for 8, is he looking for more, somehow like he wants a cut of his revenue from anyone else selling the Jackson jersey with 8. But I know the NFL contracts, I'm pretty sure they get a chunk of that. I mean, I've never read his deal. I just know how much it was reported, but I would assume that they get a cut of what their jersey sales are, or maybe the owners get a cut of the jersey sales only, and then they're able to pay those big salaries that they pay those, highly specialized athletes on the field that we all watch on Sundays. So anyways, it's got to be a play for getting more money on his jersey sales, because why wouldn't it be? But
interesting too, because he didn't actually file for the number 8. He did it for the word 8.
Really?
Yeah. I just looked it up. It looks like he didn't file for the number 8. It was just the word 8 that he is filing for.
but technically under U.S. Patent and Trademark Office rules, that would be equivalent to 8. So he could theoretically go and yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure where he's going with that. Maybe I should have read the article a little bit more. That's an interesting thing. But then the answer is absolutely. If he uses, but I mean, it's just sort of like Dwayne the Rock Johnson's production company is oh man, I'm sorry. I think it's is it $7 or $8 or $8 or whatever it is. Anyways, it's something about it's a reference to how much money he had when he supposedly came home, defeated from the Canadian Football League and he'd been cutting it. And so years later, when he, got through WWE and built himself up and now has become like, the blockbuster star that, he is, which by the way, great testament to anyone who's ever been beaten down. Dwayne Johnson did it, and just in such, but I think I want to say it's $7 entertainment or $7 entertainment is his production company because it's just to remind him that, you can be down, but then you can get yourself back up again. But so he was able to trademark that, I'm sure, or he at least he used this for a production company. So if Lamar is going to try to use 8 for something else, like I think that would actually work, and maybe actually, it still works. It depends on how he wants to use it. So it's not just absolutely void. It absolutely works. It's provided how he uses and what specimen he provides for it, and all that sort of good stuff. By the way, sorry. Here's the final hot take I'll give you, and then I will shut up and give it back to you.
You go.
Um, despite all of the money, and I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, by the way, they are my AFC team, them and the
Oh,
Dolphins.
boo, boo, this
I
way.
know, I know. But I will tell you, Mike Tomlin will pick up a ring for your Steelers before Lamar Jackson ever gets a ring. And I don't know why. I just, every time you see one of these guys that gets these massive, massive contracts, it has nothing to do with his ability. You never hear about Patrick Mahomes going out there and insisting he has to be the highest paid guy in football. You never heard about Tom Brady, insisting that he had to be the highest paid guy in football. They just know it comes, but yet Patrick Mahomes, I don't know Patrick Mahomes, W-2, so to speak, but I'd wager he probably makes more in endorsements. He's got that, the hair thing. Yeah, what a charmed life he's living. First of all, the man works hard, for his money. But he's got like not only is he like a world class athlete, he's got rings that are almost covering all of his fingers now and all that sort of stuff. Beautiful wife, all that sort of stuff. He does hair commercials. His hair is so awesome. He does hair
Just
commercials.
like Troy Polamalu.
And Troy Polamalu also. By the way, what my favorite strong safety of all time. Great strong safety because he's always got a smile on his face,
You.
but then on the field he would kill you. And he'd just be like, "Hey guys, how you doing? Hey, oh, come on, I gotta go knock this guy's head off. I'll be right back."
Remember his pre-snaps. His pre-snaps were insane.
Oh my God! I hit two greatest strong safeties of all time. Ronnie Lott and Troy Polamalu. But Troy was just Ronnie Lott was always just so dang serious. But Troy Polamalu was just like, hey guys. Oh, I'm sorry, I broke your leg. And actually, I don't think he ever did that. I mean, he was what an amazing safety. Anyways, but back to all of that. The reason why, I mean, look at the guys who have negotiated the largest contracts in the recent couple of years, and it's Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray out in, Arizona. The guys that are fighting for all their money, I think there's a reason why they're fighting for all their money because I don't know, at some level, the person's never been a champion, and I just don't know if they can push. It's not to take away from they're an amazing athlete. They're everything, but to win that championship is such a rare thing. And, once again, Patrick Mahomes, the rumors are is that, by midsummer, spring, he's got, I think, if everyone's seen his home, you can see it on Google, he's got a field in the back of his home. And like he just, the receivers come over and they just run drills throughout the year because that's his job, and he takes it seriously and he wants to be one of the greatest of all time. And by the way, is he the greatest of all time? Props out to Tom Brady. No, Tom Brady. But Pat, he's on his way, and if you can get how many rings does the GOAT have? 7, I think. He's got 7, right? 6 with the Patriots and 1 with Tampa.
I think so. Let me see.
Yeah, I think it's 6, and it's 6 with Belichick, and then 1
Yes,
down there with
7.
Arians.
Yes,
Yeah,
7.
yeah. I mean, and talk about another guy, just whatever. But none of those guys did you ever hear about them negotiating the largest deal. So that's why I just think, and you guys have one of the best coaches in the NFL, and Mike Tomlin, and I think he's just class act, fantastic coach. And if you actually give him someone to coach this year, sorry, that's true. If you actually give him someone to coach this year, then he'll get you guys back to a championship before the Ravens get there.
Awesome. Well, Matt, I have one thing to leave us off on. I want to hear your opinion. First time I'm bringing this up, it's going to kind of throw you off guard here, so feel free. I helped a customer, like was it last month, and I just want to see what you think this product is. It has been filed, hasn't been reviewed yet by the USPTO, but it's still a product. It's actually kind of a popular product out there. I don't think he's like the first one to ever create this, but what do you think poop on a loop is?
Give me a second. I'm thinking. We haven't dropped internet connection. I'm a hoop on a loop.
Poop on a loop.
What would be on a loop? Hoop on a loop. It's the only thing, I mean, hoop, the only thing I can think of would be basketball, but I know I'm wrong.
Nope, nope, not definitely not basketball.
Hoop on a loop. Um, it's a continuous loop of hip hop songs
No, it's a product.
on DVD.
Nope,
I don't know what it is. What do you got?
it's a novelty toy.
Oh dear God. Are we allowed to say this? What is it? The novelty
Um,
toy. Do we know what the novelty toy does?
so do you know whenever you go take your dog out on a walk, and you have that little bag that you put the poop bags in?
Yes, I'm very familiar with that. Yes.
And he's trademarking that poop on a loop.
Huh. Okay, good for him. That's actually okay. That's sort of cool.
I one of our operations people that we have, she trademarked it for me, because I filed it or got the application to her and she filed it, and we're both scratching our heads of what it could be, and I finally looked it up and found out that's what it was. I just wanted to see what you thought it was, maybe just maybe think.
Poop on a loop.
Yep, poop on a loop.
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah. I hope the gentleman gets it trademarked. The customer. So I don't know if it's a gentleman or not, but yeah, hey,
it
that's
is.
cool.
So awesome. All right. Well, we covered everything. We went through the you miss trademark. Probably not going to get that one, but we'll hopefully that one won't go through. But as far as the Alabama and also the LIV Golf, I think LIV Golf is all of the rights to win their trademark rights. So I think hopefully they'll get theirs. Jelly Roll, the lawsuit has dropped, so Jelly Roll no longer has to worry. He didn't even really. I don't think he even was worrying because he didn't even respond to the cease and desist letter, so he just ignored it. So
Awesome.
all right. Well, thank you everyone that joined us today. It's been about an hour now, so thank you again for staying on for the long watch. As me and Matt rambled on today. If you guys need any trademark services, you know where to go. This episode is Small Business Chat is always sponsored by the Trademark Company for all your trademark needs. So, Matt, anything to say to the folks before we leave?
Yeah, just the only thing is that we're going to start doing this. Like, if you think about it, smash like, so that, you can, and, follow us, on wherever we are, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. If you liked what you heard, and there's a lot more of it. A lot of times it's more general business stuff and all that sort of stuff. We've been sort of trademark related for the last couple of weeks, especially because of the Hawk Tour girl. But, smash us like, give us a like, and then you can see the next one a little bit more expediently, right?
Yeah, you hit the subscribe button so you're always notified whenever, and hit the bell notification so you're always notified of our next podcast that we release. We're starting to come out with some new stuff every single day. Well, not every single day, every single week that we drop podcasts. So we try to cover a lot of news articles as well as anything with the trademarking world. So if you want to stay up to date with everything trademark, make sure you follow the channel. So thank you again for everyone that's listening, and have a great day.